Toss, the Fresh Maker.
What is up, everybody? Ace here, and I'm back on the Jsano fan server, and just getting some stuff set up, and we're gonna go back into these caves and see if we can find ourselves some diamonds, or anything that can help us out. I should make some torches, and we're gonna talk some UHC pregame stuff because season 18 is just a week away, and there's some iron here. So yeah, as usual, the way we do it is talk about last season, and then take a look at the leaderboard, and then talk about what we might expect from this upcoming season. So we look back, we look ahead, or we look back, we look at the present, and then we look ahead to the future. So, talk a bit about UHC Season 17, a shorter UHC, probably one of the shorter ones we've had ever, definitely one of the shortest we've had in a long time, and definitely a short but sweet season, which turned out to be really good. There was a pretty decent amount of action and drama that had occurred throughout the season that was really good to see. And yeah, there wasn't really too much in the way of dead spots. It didn't, the quiet moments didn't go on for too long. That makes you wonder, when will this thing end? But started off, first episode was mostly, the biggest thing about the first episode was Red Team, which was Joda, Asus, and Boo, coming across a desert temple right in front of the Green Team, which was myself, Shostin, and Bagel. They were able to loot the place first, and thus came away with a notch apple that we could have gotten had we found it before they did. But alas, it was not meant to be. That was not the only time that the two of us would meet each other, as in the third episode, we met in the Nether, and that notch apple that we mentioned before comes into play once again, in an attempt to, I guess, keep us at bay, or maybe even gain an edge. They set up a TNT trap, and Boo ended up eating her notch apple, which only caused us to run away. It was a good defensive tactic, I guess, but in the long run, probably not the best idea for the two, or for the team, for the three of them, as would prove to be true later on in the season. However, that was not the only notch apple in play, as Scott found himself one, and after his teammate... Oops, hi. Oops, I got shot. After his teammate Red was killed to an Enderman, I think that was the only PvE death the entire season. Scott made his way to 0-0, where the yellow team was preparing to, I guess, attempt to climb up to the spawn platform and take advantage of the Healy boy that was up there and the hungry boy. But yeah, Scott got there first. Again, the notch apple was used as more of a defensive thing, as I believe Scott had to eat his notch apple to prevent himself from dying in lava. But he was able to pick up a kill on Special Bruh, shooting him off of the staircase to his death, and then after a bit of combat ended up chasing Street Cred Cookie down a hole in which Cookie dug through the bottom of the hole and fell to his death. And then Karma came into play and Scott walked right down that very same hole and met his demise almost immediately afterwards, which left Fruit to be the only survivor at that point of the entire battle. He finished the job of climbing up to Healy Boy, and then attempted to swan dive off to his death, but Lemons, who did not play the game but was the admin at the time, basically did the slash kill on him before he could kill himself. He was going to die either way, but Lemons denied him the pleasure of... it sounds like a lot of good stuff up there. Denied him the pleasure of dying the way he wanted to, I guess. So after that, pretty much every other team that was left started making their way to 0-0. Asus died to a skeleton overnight. That was pretty much the only thing that happened in between. My team made our way to the 0-0 mountain and set up shop. Saw red team running around, and saw gray team running around as well. Everybody pretty much made their way to 0-0 right around the same time. Blue team was, Mary's team, fashionably late as usual, making their way nice and slow to the final area. And once the sun rose, combat came into play, and despite the fact that the blue team was the last team to arrive at 0-0, they were the first team to engage in combat, in which they kind of surprised us, because we knew where the red team was, and we had an idea where the gray team was, and then suddenly here's blue team right next to us. So as that happened, red team tried to take advantage and fight us as well. So I was holding off red team while Sjano19 and Bagel were trying to hold off the blue team. Sjano19 successfully killed Mary, and then at that point, if you've watched my perspective or watched my channel from any point in the last couple months, you've probably heard me mention it at least once, but I had what could easily... Oh, that's a mine shaft. I had what could easily be considered the best moment of my UHC career, which was, of course, realizing... Well, basically, I had an itch to get some kills, at least one kill, and noticed that Joda and Boo were really low in health, and I saw that Joda was fighting Dennis, and so I was like, now's as good a time as ever, as any. Now's as good a time as any, I think that's right. And so I set off to get some killing. I was hoping for at least one, but I killed Boo, and then ran up and killed Joda, and then I killed Dennis, and then Sjano19 died to... I forget if it was Nix or Dan, but it was the blue team. So I was like, uh-oh, Bagel's by herself. So I ran back up, got into a fight with Nixer, killed Nixer, ran up and killed Dan, just as he killed Bagel, which was unfortunate. Took a moment to basically catch my breath, I guess. Ran down the hill a little ways, shot down Weather, and then suddenly it was just me and Zalpha. And after some kind of wonky, I guess, styled combat, a lot of digging around, some lava buckets, a little bit of slicing, me realizing almost too late that I had not notch apple, but a golden apple. I took that, and then proceeded to bounce some arrows off of Zalpha's shield onto myself, and Zalpha did the killing blow to win the UHC for himself, Dennis, and Weather. So he got his second UHC win, his first one while still alive, and Dennis and Weather got their first UHC win. So big congratulations to them. And that was UHC Season 17. Definitely an exciting one. And basically kind of a short and sweet kind of season, which good to have. I need one more plank. Alright, now I'm going to see if I can pull this off. Okay, we're not getting attacked. If I do, properties, and do this. Okay, so you should be seeing the leaderboard right now. Let me just peek in. Yep, there's the leaderboard. So, as it stands today, leaderboard is as follows. Nixer has reclaimed the lead after the biggest killer did not show up for this season. He gained 3 positions to retake the lead, though he only has a 5-point lead over Street Cred Cookie, who is holding on to second. Aces breaks his tie with Nixer, only to get into a tie with the biggest killer for third. He gets third place because he attended this season. Killer is in fourth. Shawson rounds out the top 5, basically swapping places with Cielo, who's in 7th. Mary holds on to 6th. I, with 6 kills, the most kill bonus point, a true second place finish, you know, both as an individual and a team, all that stuff, basically gave me 1 position over the idle Muckluck, who did not attend. Joda holds on to the top 10, and then everybody else who attended this season. Let's see if I can pull this off without dying. Let's see. Dennis gains a spot to 11th. Weather gains 2 spots to 12th. Boo, who holds on to 13th. Lemons, who, like I said, was an admin, who was kind of watching over but not playing, was 14th. He fell to 14th. Zalpha climbed 3 spots to 15th. Dan holds on to 16th. Fruit drops a spot to 18th. Scott climbs 13 positions to 23rd, because he climbed a lot of idle players during that. The most positions for this season, too. RV Bagel debuted in 24th. Rad climbed 2 spots to 32nd. And Special Bruh made his return after so long in 37th. So, the notes I have, Nixer reclaims the lead. Aces in 3rd, yeah, broke the tie. 28 points between 4th and 5th place, which is Killer and Shawson. 20 points between 8th and 9th, which I believe is me and Muck. And Scott climbed the most positions. 2 notch apples in play. Neither team won. That's the first time that happened. Special Bar return. Bagel debuted. Yeah, Weather and Dennis first wins. Alpha second. And I, with 6 kills, had the most by 1 person since Notorious Park way back in Season 7, who had 5 kills in a row. Before I continue on, let me see if I can swap back. Yeah, we haven't had anyone score more than 5 kills since Season 7, which is a long time. For me, that was the first kill I had since... I see you. Oops. This was the first kill I had since Season 5, which was 4 years ago. And I did not miss a UHC since Season 5, so that's 4 straight years of not getting a kill in UHC. And a lot of those was, like, not even, you know, dealing damage in some points. What do I don't want? I do want that. Get rid of those. Alright, so let's talk about Season 18. That's the big one. It's a barely legal season. This season we are going to be doing randomized teams of 2, which we haven't done random since Season 15, I want to say. Spooky Halloween season. I think part of the reason why we haven't done it in so long was because of the issue that we had with that season. You know, it'd be fun is trying to get out of here. I am not going back up to the surface, so I'm gonna have to navigate my way back home. And I don't do torching techniques. And there's a lot to cover here. We'll ignore that for the moment. Oh. So yeah, random teams of 2, and we're also doing this season in the latest update, which is 1.13. So there are some interesting things about that. Obviously, the biggest issue that we are concerned with are the phantom mobs, and how they might affect this season. People are talking about the bed meta of sleeping in a UHC. So from what I've noticed, wow, okay. From what I've noticed with the phantoms is, obviously they are a flying mob. They spawn in groups of between, I believe it's 1 or 2 and 4. They spawn in multiple waves throughout the night, which I don't know how many. Might be like between 1 and 4 again. And they spawn per individual. They fly around, they dive bomb you, they deal, I think, Enderman level damage. Or Enderman-esque damage, at least. Ignoring armor, I've heard. I don't think it ignores armor, because the armor I have does alright against them. I think it just deals a lot of damage, and it takes a lot of armor to make up for it. Let's see what's in here before we continue. Golden apple. You can have this. And that. I'll take that and that. We really need diamonds, so I can, I'm actually going to, oops, take a screenshot of that, because I might want to come back for this. Matter of fact, I do want to come back for it, because it's got some nice rails in there. And some beetroot seeds. I'm going to put that in there as well. I don't know why I'm still picking these up, but alright. So yeah, phantoms spawn in groups per individual, multiple waves every night, if you don't sleep for more than 3 nights in a row. That's pretty much, I think, all the main facts. They go away if you sleep, or if you go underground, or if you die. Dying resets it. Sleeping resets it. Going underground, I believe, just causes them to despawn. But they'll be back if you return to the surface. Ooh, nice dodge. Yeah, you can't quite fit through there. They still somewhat work. There's another one. It's a little lag today. So yeah, how do we deal with these phantoms? Well, I've been thinking about it, mostly at work. It's usually where I do a lot of my thinking about stuff. There's a couple ways to go about this, and we're definitely gonna see 2 metas, or 2, not metas, strategies, for this UHC. Strategy number 1 is going to be to basically do the go underground every night tactic, which basically guarantees you don't come across any phantoms at all, but you do have to, like, dig down. Oops. And creeper. No creeper. But yeah, you do have to dig down, like, pretty far underground. You could hide just beneath the surface and be okay, but they'll still spawn. And I guess theoretically could point out your location. or hint to your location at the very least. So that would not be good. So yeah, that's option number 1, and we're definitely going to see both of these options in some form for this season. Option number 2, which will be kind of tricky. I doubt that every single, like I said, I doubt that every single team will be able to do this. But if you find enough sheep, or if you find enough cobwebs, like in here, you can get yourself a bed. 12 string or 3 wool for 1 bed. You do not have to sleep through the night, so you just gotta lay in bed for the moment, and it should negate the phantoms from spawning. And that's good. What do I want out of this? I don't want the bread. Guess I'll take the name tag and I'll come back for these, so. Thank you. So yeah, I believe, one thing that I would like to try to do, I don't know if we're going to end up doing this, but I'll extend the offer, is, you know, we do the world border thing at the end of episode 5, or the beginning of episode 6, depending on how you look at it. And then we have a closeover time, obviously. So my proposal is that we, you know, once it's done closing, we immediately put on Eternal Day. Now, last season the world border closed over 40 minutes instead of 60, which I actually kind of liked. Meant the season didn't go on for too long, and it added a little bit of extra excitement because the world border was moving faster and it kind of snuck up on people. So it added some extra flair in terms of you know, watching it back, viewing it as a spectator. This is where I want to be. But is it fruitful? Let's get some obsidian down. So, in doing that, what it would do is basically, I did not want to do that, is basically, if you slept, if you could get a bed and sleep, by the end of, you know, episode 5, beginning of episode 6, and you had a sleep just before leaving the caves, aka the night after the world border starts moving, you wouldn't have to sleep ever again. You'd just sleep that one time and be good for the rest of the season. Because usually, unless it's season 12, once the world border gets to its closed state, it will pretty much guarantee that the season is going to end relatively soon. I just threw all of my blocks away. There's nothing back there anyways. So yeah, it would, and of course, you know, if it does run on longer, like I said, the Eternal Day part would kick in as soon as the world border is done moving, and we wouldn't have to worry about that. So that's just an offer. You know, obviously, if you can't find the stuff for a bed, it doesn't mean much. It just means you have to go underground every night until the world border is done, and by that point you're within combat range. So, you know, I think it works out pretty well because it would force people to move in. Like, you wouldn't be able to camp and wait for the world border to just stop moving. Or you wouldn't be able to camp and wait for Eternal Day because the world border is moving in. So you gotta move with it, or risk dying. So it forces you to move, and once we're within the range, where the UHC becomes the most exciting and where we probably would want the least amount of outside interference from phantoms, that's when Eternal Day comes on, and we don't have to worry about the phantoms anymore. So that's my proposal. But again, you would have to make sure you sleep by the night after the world border starts moving, or at least at the very least, that's like at the earliest time. If you can sleep anytime after that, or stay underground, each night until it gets to its point, then you will be okay. So that's just an idea. And as usual, we move on to our big questions of the season. The Phantom was probably the number one big question. How do we deal with that? And like I said, it's either sleep, get some beds, do the underground every night deal. Oops. And of course the whole Eternal Day with the world border thing is the other option. As this lava goes, but so yeah, question number 2 would be, I had the question. Let's see if I can think about it for a second. I guess, would any of the other parts of 1.13 be a factor this season? And I kind of want to say no. I don't think so. The other parts of 1.13 is largely ocean-based, and you consider like when Ocean Monuments came in, there wasn't really that big, wasn't really any change. Nobody's really gone into an Ocean Monument in a UHC. The risk is too high. So, would any of this stuff, which arguably the risk is less. There's some diamonds. Would be... Whew, good thing I put some water down. So yeah, this stuff has arguably less risk. The shipwrecks and the little ruins. However, you do have the drowned with tridents that could spawn. Not guaranteed all the time, but is it worth it to go under there, go underwater and look for these things? Or should you just, stay back and, leave them alone? It's kind of a tough choice to make there. And not to mention, the shipwrecks don't really have, in my opinion, the loot from the shipwrecks aren't really worth it, especially in the late game. I mean, there's gold, and I think there's diamonds in some capacity. However, I don't believe that it is, worth the risk, I guess. So I don't know. Not to mention, drowning is more of a possibility due to, you know, the way the breathing part changes. I don't know which way to go. I have to get out of here alive now, though, because I got the diamonds on me. Stop. Okay, open this way. So yeah, considering, like, the only thing, like, you can't do the torch trick anymore. You gotta, the only thing that creates air pockets these days are the doors. Full-size doors are the only things that allow you to breathe and make an air pocket. So, if you don't have any doors on you, then it's not a good idea. I guess you could do those ventilation things that pull you down, magma blocks, but ventilation things. Man, I have such a way with words. You know, you're at risk of taking damage, and damage is a big thing to keep track of in a UHC. So that is a big issue there. I think in the early going, it might be doable to, there's a lot of this place. It might be doable to, I wonder if I can mark this for later. I'll just, do this. I'll come back to this and be like, why did I block it off? I'll just put a bunch of torches on it. And I will do one of these to help mark it. So yeah, I think if you're careful enough, you could pull it off and things will be fine. But if you're not comfortable exploring underwater, like if you still have drowning troubles, I would not chance it. And then, like I said, the drowned themselves aren't too bad, as long as they don't have tridents. And tridents are bad, especially underwater. Now, you could theoretically get a trident, but you know, who knows? I think the risk is, you know, the reward is not high enough at that point. Yeah, Lemons is playing. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think we'll see anybody actually go for it. If you're lucky, maybe you find some buried treasure, or a shipwreck that's like close to the land, or like the one we have in Spawn Town that's just built into a mountain, just tossed up in there. But besides that, I don't think it will be that big of a change in that department. So I kind of rambled on with that one. And final question reserved for myself. How will I do this season? Especially considering what happened last season. I exploded with 6 kills and got a true second place out of it. There's no way I'm going to find my way back. I'm back at the mine shaft. Sounds good. So the thing about last season, as good as it was, you have to consider what made last season that good. And the answer to that is oh, it's a ravine. That's not the answer, but you know, you look at the 6 kills, and like, out of all 6, like, one of them was probably, like, I don't want to say legit, but, like, maybe, you know, actually, earned, you know? Like, I had to actually fight for it. Not to say that, and what I mean by that is that, you know, you look at Boo, Dennis, and Joda, those first 3 kills were all, everybody's on 1 hit from death, and everybody is looking in the opposite direction. And in Dennis's case, I don't really understand what he did that for. Maybe he's trying to hide, but the first 2 were definitely distracted by Dennis. Maybe Dennis was looking back for his teammates, maybe. But either way, it left me wide open to seize the opportunity. And that was pretty much how I could explain those 6 kills in one word, is opportunistic. Which is just as important as, you know, aim and luck and other skills. And of course, you know, how good your weapons are and armor and, you know, everything else. I like that 360, bro. But yeah, so, like, the first 3 kills were, you know, one-shot kills. Oh, hi. And then, you know, Dan was pretty much laser focused on killing Bagel. I'm guessing that he just wanted to get the 1, if anything. And he did, just barely. He came right at me. Gonna try and juke me out. And, you know, weather was basically shooting uphill. You know, shooting downhill, so there was less aim compensating for height. So out of those, the Naxer kill was the only one that I actually had to fight for, because of all that. And in that one, I probably got a good amount of luck from maybe the lag gods or something, because he got like 1 hit on me, and then that was it. I don't know if I was just keeping him at bay somehow, or if lag or latency played into, you know, the whole thing, but I got that one for some reason. I'm not completely complaining about it, but definitely one that I'm not too certain I should have had, but definitely got it. I'll take it. So yeah, this season, I'm just going to go with the same strategy I've done each and every season. That's not die in the caves, and take things as I go. Try to die in combat, if anything, and, you know, hope that I can get a kill, and at least 1. You know, a win would be great. That's kind of essentially the next step, if we were looking at it that way. Because, you know, technically there's some other stuff that I just haven't gotten yet. Like, I most definitely... Ooh, flower. Do I have room to take you? Yes. Come on with me. So, I haven't done first kill, haven't done Iron Man, even though I was really close this season. Like, with, maybe a minute away from Iron Man. Oops. Well, I made that worse. Stop. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Thinking about it a little bit more. Make this a nice long episode. Been playing a lot of Rainbow Six Siege lately. And while Minecraft is obviously a very different game, considering the stuff I've done in Siege, and I'm not good at Siege by any means. I released a couple episodes just to see if anybody cared. It did not seem like it, but I think that might help a bit. Maybe not where aiming comes into play, but definitely in terms of going for it. Like, I think that was like the best part about last season, was that I went for it. You know, I didn't, you know, play it safe or hesitate. You know, I just kind of saw the opportunity, took it, and it paid off quite well. Take out these water columns. So, So I think this season I think stuff like that might play in my favor. I kind of lost my train of thought, but on the UHC side of, or on the Rainbow Six side of things, where that's concerned, I think that's going to help. I did not do that too well, but I think I can make up for it. Nope. Yeah, I can. I can make up for it. No, I can't. I just do that. And then I can just chuck this, I guess. Yeah. Because I'll come back for all this stuff that's in here. So, I think that's all I can say about UHC18. I have an intro ready. Hopefully I can use it for more than one episode. As usual, you know, expect post-game recap, footnotes. Oh, I need that Enderman. You know, the intro video, UHC battles, and of course every episode that I record for this season. So, and I can confirm that I will be at this season. Oh wow, he tried to do that. Tried to juke me out. Okay, take care of you. And now let's take care of this guy. I'm just gonna do it the cheap way. Hi. Yeah. That means I can make an ender chest. What do I not want in exchange? I turned all my my wood into sticks, so I could eat the golden apple. I'll get rid of that. I can just dig up. Alright, so that's all I'll do for this episode. UHC pregame stuff. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching. And I shall see you all next time.